Thank you, Mauricio, for this really beautiful message. You know, it reminded me of a conversation that I have with Miriam quite often, because Miriam has a little bit of a temper. Um, it's very much like our rabbi had a temper. And I remember one of the things, I think I heard it from him, I'm not sure, but I know that I always tell Miriam, don't worry about the temper, just redirect it. And that's exactly what you said, is that God created us with the personalities that we have. And she's a warrior, my friend Miriam. And so if ever I'm in a battle, I'm going to be right behind her. 'Cause she's a tough girl, even though she may not always see it. You know, God has given each of us characteristics that He wants us to use for Him. And we don't always know how that's going to happen until we're called in that moment. And life has a way of challenging us so that we are building up the characteristics that He put in us. I like how you talk about the family. The family is such an important unit, and many of us have come from, or some of us here. I don't know all of you, but I've come from a very broken family. I know Miriam struggled in her family, a broken family as well. We may not have had healthy families, but when we entered the family of God, that's when we were able to really understand what it means to be brought up in a family. And I was thinking the same thing that you mentioned, Mauricio, about Simeon and Levi, how the two of them, you know, their anger, their rage by killing all those young men, all the men in Shechem, came back, midat keneged midat, came back on them many years later. So we need to learn to take these characteristics that are in us that we struggle with and learn how to. And the only way to redirect them is really by asking God to help us. And little by little, He'll put experiences in our life that help us, that make us do that. So, Miriam, do you have something to say about what you heard this morning?
You pretty much said it, Peggy. The idea that, I mean, we have to be careful and not mistake. There are people who have anger, well, what looks like a characteristic of anger, but maybe it's just something that's not healthy in them. And when they get healthier, they don't have that kind of anger. So it's hard to say always if it's a characteristic, but it is a really good principle because I look back at my past also. I remember when I was a little kid, like there were some kids in the neighborhood that came and stole our toys, a dump truck and this and that. And I remember, okay, so we just had to live with it. But I said no. So I ran around the corner and I saw some of our toys and I grabbed it, grabbed the dump truck and poured the sand out and I ran and brought it back. So I'm saying that is good if it's directed in a good way. I really like that because there are traits we have that especially if we come from a family that's dysfunctional, whatever, and we have built up rage, that rage can be directed to ways where it's important to have that kind of temper sometimes. And I'm seeing that in my own life, how that rage is getting less, but I'm learning to stand up more for certain things that are important to stand up for. So I like that because we all have things that could be directed in the wrong way. And if we take that characteristic that we have and redirect it, and it's not, who are we? We're not able to change what God has given us if He's given us certain characteristics. So yeah, I really like that. Thank you, Mauricio.
Yeah. Mauricio, maybe you could also speak a little more on the fact that when I read the part where you said Zimri didn't unleash his anger and fury in the face of such an act of human corruption, instead, and you wrote the praiseworthy man. You were being sarcastic there? Or, yeah, definitely, because I don't see him as praiseworthy in any way.
Yeah, I think that some of the things that I wrote it need to be read, okay, because You lost so many things if you just hear the message. But when you read the message, you can look the words that I wrote in Hebrew, and then read again later in another passage the same words. So so that is very very important. And you know the point is like, okay, Pinchas, well, you know, the name in Hebrew were given because of the characteristics. Okay.
Right.
So in honestly, when you look a praiseworthy man, it means that he was very, popular, politician probably. He
Right.
was very kind, and you know, and then you have another guy called Pinchas. Okay, there, okay, he was not a prince. Okay, remember that even though he was under the shadow of his grandfather Aaron, okay, in that at that moment, the Torah says that the priesthood was for Aaron and his children. That means Eleazar, Itamar, Nadab, and Abihu. That's it. And then, so then, at that moment, specifically, uh, Pinchas was not priest. Okay, he was a Levite. Okay, so uh, he was not really an important thing, and and then you have a guy, a person. His name is praiseworthy, and then you have another man, which his name means uh, tongue of the serpent. Okay,
Yeah, mouth of the serpent, right.
so then if you have to take a coffee, to whom you will take the coffee? To the serpent or to the praiseworthy? Okay, so but the problem of these men, okay, that both Levi and Shimeon had a problem when we read the passage of Dinah. Okay, they have fury and anger, and they went to Shechem and killed all the town. Okay, what happened to them? They have zeal. Okay, they have zeal for Dinah, for honor his father's name, Jacob, who can make to my father this sin. Okay, so they deceived that persons, and when they were weak, they destroyed. So they act without thinking. They act just for instinct to destroy, just because of the wrath. And then,
And you don't hear them consulting God.
no, they did not consult in God. Okay, obviously, they just act because of their honor. Okay, and so what you can see then in Levi and Shimeon, that both of them had this problem, that his father cursed. Okay, what he cursed? Their wrath and their anger. Okay, and then it's like, it's Jacob in the blessings. He cursed the characteristics of his
Right.
children.
Right.
Okay, so that is very deep. I mean, it's not a simple thing. When you are dying, I think, okay, because I'm not at that moment right now, but I remember when my father, he was como like lowing his health. uh he started to give us messages for in his, what in his inner part he had. okay, very important messages for us as his children. So if you have, for example, 1 minute to live, I don't know, and somebody tells you, what would you say to your loved ones? Okay, what would you do? Okay, probably you don't start to talk about money and possessions. No, you can say, don't worry, life is going, and but live every day. I don't know, have mercy, love, follow the Torah, things like that that are been very meaningful. So at that moment, Jacob cursed their characteristics. What does it mean that, you know, here in El Salvador, everybody knows, okay? Because we are a tiny place, okay? We are not such big country like Canada. So if you go to another city, then you start to talk with somebody and he start to say, oh, yes, you look like that person or that family. And everybody knows at least one person related, okay? So that is something that there is some characteristics of some families that you can see, and you say, oh, these men are very angry. That family is crazy. I don't know, things like that. Okay, you have that characteristics of the group. Okay, for example, in my house, I'm pretty sure that people knows us because we don't, you know, we are not so fufurufos, we say, okay, which means we are not that kind of people who are with the cup of tea, okay, please give me one thing and I'm gonna take the no. In my house, people is like, hey, come here, everybody hugging, and we are shouting, and my wife and me, we cannot, when we are start to laugh, we don't, we are not like, or
Yeah.
that kind of woman with a lot of money that no, we are start to shout and celebrate and things like that, and we are very happy people. So everybody knows us because, oh, they come here because the ones who are very funny and shout people and hugging everybody. So that's how we are met. And can you imagine now what they said about Levi and Shimeon? Oh, here they come, the ones who are very anger.
The
Okay,
vigilantes.
yes, okay. Keep them away because they can punch you and hit you and things like that. And so that was like a collective thing, okay, that everybody, if they look for the characteristics, okay, it was not like, oh, Judah, I am the king, okay, or Joseph, oh, I am the one who works and are very blessed by God, very fruitful, or Issachar, or or Dan, judging the people. No, these were very have a negative apparently characteristic, but was needed. Okay, so but it seems that the tribe of Simeon didn't want to accept the gift of God to them. So they start to be like more praiseworthy, okay? And when the time that God needed to show the wrath, to show the fury because of the sin of the Midianites, it's very easy, okay? what they did, oh, we're gonna give a hug. Okay. And then no, Moses, don't worry. We can start to negotiate with them, and things like that, like 2 days. Okay. But what happened to that? Here comes the fox, I would say, because she was a liar, deceitful person. So that reminds me, for example, the case of Shimshon, remember, and Delilah.
Yeah.
Okay, negativity, night. Okay, so yeah, they're beautiful for outside, but what was inside of those women? Destruction. So the problem is that supposedly Shimeon, the one who could destroy the people of Shechem, okay, he didn't act like Shimeon would. He started to act like another person, okay, and so instead to use the weapons that God, the instrument, the tools that God gave to his family, sometimes we need persons like Levi and Shimeon to protect ourselves. Okay. And so what happened? They were deceived by the sin. And then after you look what God has done for you, then after God has forgiven you many times, and that he said, I am the one, nobody else is God. Okay. Now they come to Baal Peor, which is a Moabite god. And this god was not a very good god, I would say. You know, people have sex, okay, before that god. And not only that happened, he was like, uh, if we can say today, the god was like a toilet, okay, because people went to make their needs like a toilet in front of that god, okay, while they have sex, okay. So that's why I didn't want to put it in the message, but that it was, I said it was uncountable, okay, because even today when I read it disgusting me, okay. So can you imagine a tribe that what that saw what God has done for them in the past, okay, showing mercy for 40 years, not, your food do not have any problem, no bites, you have food, you have everything, then you are making something so low before him and destroying your families, okay. So at that moment, what happened? The very okay, because we read, but but that was like a crazy. Can you imagine if in your city 24,000 persons start to have this this deprivation in the city? Can you imagine right now what is the chaos around that city? That would be okay. So uh, at that moment, what happened? Uh, People start to die. Okay, and um, there is a Roman emperor, I can remember right now his name, but I remember that I read that this guy was like 15 days into a party. Okay. Can
Into
you
what?
imagine in a party? Okay.
Oh, yeah,
And
Sorry,
he
15
was
days what?
drinking
in a party, like,
in a
Oh, okay,
party.
all right,
is that
Okay.
okay.
Nero?
But
Maybe?
yes. Who?
Nero?
Probably Nero. I don't know,
Like him.
Nero, Caligula. I don't know, but
Right,
one of those
right,
guys. Okay.
right,
But that kind of the name was bacchanals. Okay.
right,
So in a bacchanal, you eat a lot, you drink a lot, and have sex a lot with many things that I cannot say. Okay. In But the body, okay, of that emperor last in that deprivation 15 days and die. He didn't die because he didn't eat. He didn't die because he didn't have water. He didn't die because of, having sex. It was so many sins and negativity enter into his body that the body said, hey, I need to stop.
wow,
And he died. Okay. In the portion, we lost the time. Okay. Because if there is a God, you need to build up a statue. You need to take time to build a, I don't know if it was a temple, or if it was whatever. Okay. And to meet that people, that those women, it doesn't happen in 1 hour, is what I wanted to say. No, that probably takes more time. Is like the golden calf.
mhm,
It didn't happen at the day 40 exactly. Okay. Because can you imagine, you need to collect all the rings
right,
and ears, and then uh, put into a fire, and then build up the golden calf, and then say, oh, look, this is your God. And while people start to understand that that is God, is not the one that I looking behind me. Okay. So that takes time. Okay. But sometimes when we real, we lost that that period of time.
right,
So the plague do not start to happen at 1 second. Okay, no, that probably takes, I don't know, 15 days. Okay, and then people start to die because the body were not accustomed to that kind of cult. Okay,
right,
and then they start to die, and a disease start to propagate. I don't know
right,
what kind of disease, but it was very clear that doesn't happen in 1 moment. Okay, so then Simri lost his mind and start to have sexual relations before everybody and before the Ohel Moel. Okay, and then Pinchas looked at that, and what happened in his DNA. Then the wrath of Levi comes to him and say, "Oh no, this could not happen." Okay,
right,
and what he had, okay, it's very precious, this thing, because um, both of them have the same opportunity to act. But Pinchas used the tools of Levi and Shimeon to stop the plague. So Gal was in front, the Ohel Moel was in front of the act of the probation. okay, and then he took the spear, Romach, okay, and throw to them and and kill at that moment. What is the main point of God in for example, Leviticus? He said that if you look very carefully, all the commandments are that God is the God of alive persons, of live persons, not of death. So death cannot be in front of God. And what uh, Pinchas did, he showed death before God. So that's why it says, like, I am destroying everybody, and then something that cannot be in front of me now is in front of me, which is death. Okay, so that's why he looked back to what happened in that moment. Okay, and that's why, okay, who should have to be dead at that moment? Pinchas, because he commit an act that, according to the Torah, is forbidden, to kill people. Okay, and then God gives him the Brit Shalom. In the Torah, the word Shalom is broken. Okay, the Lamed. So why is broken? Because was not complete. Okay, and that is the responsibility of Pinchas, and he has to deal with that all his life. And now, what God is giving to Pinchas? Okay, Pinchas, now you're gonna be priesthood, and you're gonna be Kohen forever. Okay, what does it mean? You cannot go to the army. Okay, so now you have to deal not with the spears, but with the service of God. So God is redirecting Pinchas to be light, to use his energy, negative energy, to be light. Okay, and obviously it's very important to mention that this is a unique case, okay, in the Torah, that God allowed that someone who kills another person is not dead.
Right.
Okay, so what does it really mean? That we do not have to follow the actions of Pinchas. Okay, but the principle of Pinchas, yes, we have to follow. So,
And the principle, how would you break that down?
okay, the principle of Pinchas is you do not have to be very permissible person to the bad things around your family and around you. You need to cut everything, okay, like a spear, okay, because for example,
Shalom,
um,
Richard. Sorry.
Shalom, Richard. Okay, just to give you an example,
Yeah.
I have a personal, and probably could be look as chauvinist, but I don't care. Okay, when I met woman in my job, I do not kiss them. Okay, I say hi very far, and probably the most because if I look that she's approach to me, I extend my hand just to make a shaking hand, okay, with her. That doesn't happen, for example, with my relatives. I am a very loving person with my family. Okay, I love to hug, for example, Samara. and my wife, my kids, I kiss them. Okay. The point is that I had put a defense with outside my family. Okay. Why? Because I act like Pinchas in that case. Okay. It's not because it's not like the case of Muslims, for example. The Muslims do not want to to extend their hands to the woman because they look at her like a sinful person. It's not that. I don't look the woman like a sinful person,
Right.
but it's respect and protecting myself.
Right.
Why? Because if I allow, for example, eh, I always think about this. For example, um, when the sin start to come before you, it never comes like a sin. Okay,
Right.
always comes like Cosby. Okay,
Right. Right.
like a princess. Okay,
Yes. Right.
okay. So you need to be very careful and put borders before you. Okay.
Right. Right.
So that is a principle, for example, to apply Pinchas. Okay. You are you say this is yes and this is no. Okay, this is my border. Okay.
Right.
And if you like, okay, if you don't like, it's okay.
Right.
Okay. But I doing not for you is for protecting me. Okay.
Right.
Because God says, Mauricio, your heart is very deceitful.
Right.
Do not trust in you that you are strong enough
Right.
to say one day to a woman, hey, you don't like me. Okay.
Right.
Obviously, it could happen.
Right.
So what I do, protect myself.
Right.
I use the spear. Okay. You know
Right.
why? Because the spear protects you from very far.
Right.
The sword is very close. Okay.
Right.
So so that is an example of the principle to be a Pinchas today.
Right.
Okay. It's not that I have to shout to the woman or to say, oh, I don't want to talk. No, I have to make business with them. I
Right.
need to have a relation with that woman because they have to take they have the power to take decisions, and sometimes I need to do my job.
Right.
So, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But there are borders. When you are like Simbri, oh, she is a very beautiful woman, and you hold her as like you feel confident before her. Mm, I I don't know. That's me. Okay, I respect everybody, but probably another person could be needs to be, for example, uh, the principle of Pinchas applied to the alcohol, to another probably to their funds, another ones for what they eat. I don't know. There's so many difference that you can apply. Okay, but the point is, Pin has had that. Okay, that he was very strong people, and probably that is not popular today. People likes to that, for example, if I look that man that he believes that he is a zebra, for example, I don't know if you have seen that video, but
No.
I think he's from Canada. That guy,
He thinks he's a
he
zebra?
he he thinks he's zebra.
Oh
Okay,
my goodness.
in or the other guy I think that is in Ottawa, but he dressed like a kindergarten girl.
Oh
Okay,
yes, and he
and
wears.
goes to the kindergarten.
Yeah.
Okay, in to with little kids.
Yeah.
Okay, and they accept them.
Oh.
Okay, so what Pinchas could do, the very same emotion that you have said right now. Oh,
Yeah.
no, for example, when you say, no, that is not correct,
Right,
that is to take your spirit today.
right, right,
So if they like, okay. If they don't like, it's okay. That doesn't change that what is good and what is bad. So that is for today's application. And if you look carefully, the whole parashot is talking about families,
interesting,
Zelophehad families.
right,
Okay,
right,
and then you can see in the book of Yehoshua in chapter 17, I think, when they receive the land, because they came to Yehoshua and said, Moses said to us that we could inherit the land from our father. And you know, it's interesting that the Tanakh uh, explicit says to that woman that they had justice. And this is a plenty cycle, because yes, God authorized Moses to give the land to this woman.
right,
Okay, but in Yehoshua we see fulfill the word of God for them. Okay, so that is very beautiful. And then we look the census. The census is very the same idea. God is counting families,
right.
families. What he's trying to restore after the alone, okay, sin of Simri, okay, to restore families.
Right,
That
right,
is why he's counting families.
yes,
And then it finished the well, after that, another kind of family, Moses and his son Yehoshua. Okay, that is another family. So you are adoptive son, okay, because Yehoshua was his adopted son. It's
right.
in this very interesting that his name is Yehoshua, son of Nun. Nun means fish, okay.
I thought dog is fish. Known as fish?
Yeah, dog is fish, yeah. But the idea of Nun, I was reading this. I can remember in where it is what something, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
But the point is that the word of the Nun, okay, was like he was like a fish in the water, okay, of the Torah, okay, okay. And then we finish the portion with the Moedim,
yes,
which is a very collective uh in what is the end of the Moedim, to fortress the family.
right,
Okay, for example, eh, when we celebrate Pesach, okay, I try to that all my kids are with me.
right,
Or if you are at Yom Teruah or Sukkot, you know, are families.
yes,
So the goal is for families,
right,
okay? So God is like putting a seal, okay,
right,
to the Moedim that is the family. So when you look, this portion is about family, okay? So God cares about families.
right,
Bilam look how to destroy family.
right,
And this is what is trying to do Bilam. There are so many Bilams right now,
yes,
okay? And his name means without people. That means no family is
right.
around Bilam,
Wow, yeah,
okay? So that's it.
that's beautiful. That's so important for us today. Thank you, Mauricio. Really, you have such a incisive mind. You really get in there and put it all together so well. Thank you for that. I really appreciate that. So God bless you. Have a wonderful time with your family today. I saw the pictures of Santi's graduation. Mazel tov.
Yeah, I did too. Beautiful.
Yeah, what a
Oh,
handsome,
thank you.
you have beautiful, you have a beautiful family, a handsome young man. It's just wonderful to see. Thank you.
Thank you.
And pray for us who are single and elderly, like me and Miriam and Mildred. You know, we don't have our families close to us, so this little family is our family, really. And so I'm really appreciative of everyone who's here. Anyway, next week we're going to hear our rabbi speaking about what is next week, Matot Maseh. And so have a wonderful rest of the week. Keep our community in prayer. And I guess that's it. So I want to wish you all a wonderful day, and again a Shavua Tov.
Shavua tov.
Thank you. Thank you. Mauricio.
Shabbat shalom, Shabbat
Shabbat
tov.
shalom.
Bye.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom, Shavuot Tov.
Bye, Sadi.
Bye bye.